is the principle of, with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. It's when we live in that field of all possibility. Robin calls it the bumblebee principle. That all things can start to happen in our lives. So why does Robin call it the bumblebee principle? I know some of you scientists out there, well, actually, I don't know if the scientists know this, but the true students do. Because what happened is a number of years ago, a bunch of scientists and engineers got together, well-versed in scientific principle, engineering techniques, and of course the fundamentals of aerodynamics. And they brought together all their knowledge about the particular ratio of the size and the weight of a body, the surface area and speed, which the wing speed that will determine whether or not an object will fly. They knew, right? They knew how this works. And they applied that scientific principle, that wonderful human knowledge, because that's what it is, folks. Human knowledge. We're trying to be God in expression, right? Some of us do it more perfectly than others, the masters. So they put all that knowledge together and they determined without a shadow of a doubt that it's impossible for the bumblebee to fly. Impossible. You think anybody told the bumblebee? Of this limiting principle, the bumblebee simply flies. But if you're of the scientific mind out there, you want to investigate this, it's not possible, according to the knowledge that we currently have about aerodynamics, for that to happen. Pretty amazing? So she calls this the bumblebee principle. Because we're going to start to talk about believing and achieving what? The impossible. Not possible for the bumblebee to fly, the bumblebee flies. Get it? All right. Just like, the horse Buddy was not aware that it should have been impossible for one horse to pull that vehicle out of the ditch. Buddy believed it was possible because why? There's a whole army of, buddies to help him. Do you believe that you have a whole army of buddies to help you? I'm all alone, BJ. But that's what it means to live in this field of unlimited possibility. That God, all things are possible. God is everywhere present. Think about that. We teach that in Unity. What does that really mean in the demonstration of our sacred abundance? God is present in the bumblebee. God is present in that horse Buddy. And God is present in you and in me. Another way that Robin likes to refer to the bumblebee principle is with the term uncommon sense. Now, we all know what common sense is, right? It's kind of revered in this world. It's important to have good common sense. And, Robin agrees, I agree, we need common sense. Keeps us from stepping off the curb in front of a bus. Looking both ways before you cross the street. Really, really important. You need to have common sense at times. But every great spiritual master, every great spiritual teacher, every great spiritual true student has learned to apply uncommon sense in their lives. Uncommon sense. Look at Jesus. Look at his life. Look at his ministry. Everything he did was about uncommon sense. Today we can prove that the molecules which are water are one essence, and the molecules which are wine are another essence, right? And never will the two meet. Never can they become each other. That we can scientifically prove. We can prove today that a human body is more dense than water. And when stepping on the surface of water, what's going to happen to the body? It's going to sink. We can prove it. And of course, when the human body dies, when the human body is dead, that's the end of the life of that particular body, yes? We could prove it. Now you know what I'm getting to here, right? How did Jesus change the water into wine? How did Jesus walk on water? How did Jesus resurrect himself from the dead? And you might be saying, BJ, you know that none of those things really happened. Don't take it literally. Perhaps we shouldn't. But perhaps let's just consider the possibility, for the sake of argument today, breathe if you're getting mad at me, that Jesus was a great master of uncommon sense, of the bumblebee principle. Because if I'm going to experience sacred abundance in the way that I want to experience it, the way I want to manifest it, the way I want to demonstrate it, I must be willing to embody this consciousness, this concept of possibility thinking. In Unity, we teach what? What you conceive and believe, you can what? Achieve. There's my prosperity students. What you can conceive and what? Believe. You know, we were so good at conceiving. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And then we get frustrated because we're not so good at achieving. But what's missing in the middle? You don't believe it. Do you believe that everything is possible with God? It's all about believing in unlimited possibilities. As Robin says, the world will tell us the rules of the world, won't they? You know, people will say, it's this way. It's always been this way, and it's going to continue to be this way. You got anyone like that in your life? It's common sense. And Robin says we could say, thank you for sharing. But God and I have a bigger picture of the way it can be. We have a belief in a bigger possibility. In God and through God and as God, all things are possible. Did you get that? As God? When I pray in God and through God and as God, I'm claiming that God's self within me. That divine inheritance that I have. We talk about being sons and daughters of the Most High, but do you believe it? Do you believe that Jesus is your elder brother? Who is showing you the way to who you've been created to be? And so I can choose to see the situation, the circumstance, the challenge through the eyes of God, through the eyes of all possibility. You know, what is the situation? What's the circumstance? What's the challenge in your life right now where you need to see all possibilities? There are so many things that have happened and have been done in the world, things that have been invented, things that have been accomplished, things that exist right now that at one time no one could imagine. How about the internet? But anyway, right? I couldn't imagine it, and now I'm doing it since May. After Arlene tried. For people who don't know, Arlene's our licensure teacher. She's been trying for 5 years to get me on the internet. I can't imagine. You know, Robin gives this example in her talk, which I just love. It's about the 4-minute mile. And you know, it was believed for a long time that that barrier could not be broken no matter what. And Roger Bannister, the one who accomplished it, said himself, doctors and scientists said, breaking the 4-minute mile is impossible. They said that one would die in the very attempt. So when I got up from the track, after collapsing at the finish line, I figured I must be dead. There are many things that, according to the limited laws of man, would be called impossible. But God's universe is unlimited. So how does this look in real life? You know, it's fine to talk about Jesus. It's fine to talk about a remarkable man like Roger Bannister. But what about you and me? Well, this is where I want to share with you an incredible story from Robin. This is Robin's story.